My mom thought therapy would help me stop feeling like something was wrong with me. But after my first session, I saw my therapist somewhere she could not possibly have been. My name is Alex, and when this started, I was 17. I had felt off for a while since I was about 15. I don't really know how to describe it other than everything felt distant, like there was a sheet of glass between me and the rest of the world. So when my mother suggested, or honestly enforced, that I start seeing a therapist, it didn't exactly shock me. The office smelled like hand sanitizer and something chemically floral. I figured it was coming from the plastic wax warmer plugged into the wall behind my chair. The smell irritated me almost immediately, this sweet fake flower scent that made my head feel tight. I shifted around in the squeaky leather chair, trying to get comfortable, while the woman across from me watched with what I think was supposed to be a warm, open smile. Wasn't? "Shall we start, Alex?" she asked. "Okay." She told me the first session was just meant to let her get to know me. She said I should think of it like a conversation between friends. I looked around the office, then back at her. I don't usually talk to my friends in a therapist's office. She smirked at that, but the amusement didn't reach her eyes. Actually, nothing did. Since the moment I sat down, she had smiled, chuckled, leaned back, crossed her legs, done all the things a relaxed person is supposed to do. But her eyes stayed completely blank. They were dark, almost too dark, like I couldn't tell where the iris ended and the pupil began. There was something wrong with her face, but not in a way I could explain. It was more like some primal part of my brain was trying to warn me before I understood what I was looking at. "Do you have any hobbies, Alex?" she asked. "I don't know, not really." "Oh, come on," she said, drawing the words out a little. "Your mother tells me you're quite talented with a camera. Are you interested in photography?" "I guess so. I like watching people, not in a creepy way," I added quickly. "I just like capturing them when they think no one is watching." Then I sighed. "That still sounds creepy." "No," she said simply, "you're an observer." The way she said it made me uncomfortable, but I also hated that it made me feel understood. For 1 second, despite everything wrong about her, I felt seen. Then I noticed her smile hadn't changed, not even slightly. "And what about your social life, Alex?" she asked, tapping her pen against her notebook. "Are you asking if I have friends?" "Yes," she said with a small grin, but I was trying to approach the question more gently. I told her I had a couple friends. Jessie was my best friend. She had been since middle school. She was confident and loud, but not in an annoying way. She was just enough herself for both of us, if that makes sense. She liked parties, movies, going to the mall just to walk around and look at boys. Things normal teenage girls were supposed to like. I wasn't really like that anymore. Maybe I had been once, but whenever I tried to remember who I was before things got bad, parts of my memory felt cloudy, like fog had covered the important pieces. The therapist kept asking about Jessie, what we did together, how often we talked, whether I trusted her, whether I ever felt jealous of her. And the whole time, she tapped her pen on the notebook in this slow, rhythmic way. Tab, tab, tab. I remember staring at the notebook and realizing she hadn't written anything down since the session started. Not one word. When the session ended, she told me she wanted to put me on a trial run of an antidepressant I hadn't tried before. My mom had apparently given her a list of everything I had been prescribed in the past and how it affected me. I left the office feeling worse than when I went in, but I told myself that was normal. Therapy was probably supposed to feel weird at first. Later that night, I went to work. My mom had helped me get a job at a local gas station run by one of her old high school friends, Janice. She thought having a routine would distract me from my own thoughts. And honestly, the job wasn't bad. It was boring but predictable. I stocked shelves, cleaned the bathrooms, wiped down the coffee machines, and every couple of hours I had to go outside and empty the trash cans by the pumps. That was the worst part. Janice was cheap about trash bags, so instead of replacing them, I had to take the full bags from each pump, dump them into a big industrial trash can on a dolly, then put the same bags back. It was disgusting, but I got used to it. Late at night, when the town was quiet and the pumps were empty, I didn't completely hate being outside. Sometimes I'd take my time and sneak a cigarette behind the building. That night, I did the same thing I always did. I triple-gloved my hands, grabbed the giant trash can, and started rolling it between the pumps. The dolly was old, and one of the wheels kept catching on the pavement every few steps. I remember being annoyed more than anything, just trying not to get garbage juice on myself again. I made one trip to the dumpster, dumped the trash, then went back for the last pump. Everything was normal until I came around the building for the final time. One side of the dumpster was overflowing with garbage bags and cardboard, so I set the rolling trash can aside and lifted the other lid. And then my whole body froze. There was someone inside. At first, all I could see was a face in the shadows. The upper half was dark, but the eyes looked like large black pools. What stood out most was the mouth, a small row of perfectly white teeth pulled into an impossibly tight smile. I couldn't move. I couldn't even breathe right. Then the person shifted forward just enough for the gas station lights to touch her face, and my brain made the connection. It was my therapist. She was sitting in the trash, completely still enough that for one horrible second I wondered if she was dead. Then her eyes moved. They locked onto mine, and her smile got wider. I slammed the dumpster lid shut and ran. I don't remember deciding to run. My body just did it. I sprinted to the front of the gas station, almost tripped getting inside, and fumbled with the lock until I heard the heavy click of the door sealing shut. Richard, the other employee working that night, looked up from behind the counter. "Oh, what the hell, Alex?" I was panting so hard I could barely speak. "There's someone in the dumpster. I saw someone sitting in there." "What? There's someone out there," I snapped. "In the dumpster, I'm serious." Richard stared at me for a second, then sighed and ran a hand through his hair. He was older, tired-looking, and worked more hours than anyone else there. "All right," he said, "I'll go check." "No, don't. Just lock up, please." "I can't just lock up and leave the store, kid. I need these hours. I'll be right back." Before I could stop him, he unlocked the door and walked outside. I moved behind the counter because, for some reason, that felt safer. Like the counter would actually matter if she came in. A few minutes later, the door chimed and Richard came back inside. "There's nothing out there," he said. I stared at him. "That's not possible." "I checked the dumpster. There's trash, but no person. Are you sure you weren't just imagining things?" And there it was, that look. The one people gave me after the incident. Concern mixed with pity, like they were already deciding how much of me they could believe. I looked away and told myself maybe he was right. Maybe I had imagined it. I hadn't been sleeping well. I was stressed. I had just started therapy. Maybe my brain took that strange woman from earlier and put her somewhere she didn't belong. "Yeah," I muttered, "maybe." Richard softened a little. "Go home early, Alex. I'll finish the trash." I didn't argue. For the next few weeks, I dreaded my next session. My mom gave me a little time before making me go back, and I appreciated that more than I told her. But even with the break, I couldn't get the image out of my head. The therapist sitting in the dumpster, her black eyes, that tight white smile. Every night after work, when I drove home, I kept checking the sidewalks and tree lines. Every rustle of leaves or plastic bags scraping along the pavement made my skin tight. Eventually, I started convincing myself Richard was right. Maybe nobody had been there. Maybe my lack of sleep had finally caught up with me. Maybe I was seeing things because my brain had nowhere else to put all the fear. That explanation almost worked. Until the park. A few weeks later, I went for a walk with my camera. Photography was one of the only things that still made me feel like myself. I liked capturing people in normal moments. A couple holding hands, a kid laughing, an old man feeding birds. Nothing staged, nothing forced, just people existing without knowing they were being watched. I reached my favorite part of the park, where the trees bent over the trail like a tunnel. The leaves were starting to fall, and everything had that dead gray look that comes right before winter. I lifted my camera and scanned the path through the viewfinder. I saw a pregnant woman walking with her husband, their fingers intertwined, her free hand resting on her stomach. I took a couple pictures, then lowered the camera to check them. A little farther down the path, an old man in a newsboy cap sat on a bench feeding pigeons. The birds crowded around his shoes, bobbing their heads and fighting over whatever seeds he was dropping. I raised the camera again and focused the shot. My finger hovered over the button. Then something moved behind him, fast. Too fast. I lowered the camera. A woman had just crossed behind the old man, but she wasn't walking normally. She was moving backward, not carefully stepping backward, not joking around. She was sprinting backward, perfectly smooth, like I was watching footage of a person being played in reverse. Her arms barely moved, her face was blank, and her eyes were locked on me. It was her, the therapist. Her hair pushed forward with the motion, brushing across her face, but she never looked away from me. Not once. My whole body locked up. I turned away, shut my eyes, and tried to breathe. I told myself I was panicking. I told myself this wasn't real. I told myself that when I turned around, she would be gone, so I turned around. She was gone. I looked everywhere. The path, the benches, the trees, the old man, the pigeons. Nothing. A woman was walking toward me with a small dog on a leash, and I hurried over to her before I could think about how insane I must have looked. "Excuse me," I said. "Did you see that?" She pulled back a little. "See what, dear?" "That woman," I said, pointing down the path. "Did you see her?" The woman looked over her shoulder, then back at me. "No, are you all right?" Her dog stared at me like even it knew something was wrong. I apologized and stepped away. The woman gave me an awkward smile and kept walking, glancing back once before disappearing down the trail. I went straight to my car. By the time I got there, my hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my keys. I sat in the driver's seat of my old Toyota Corolla and leaned my head back against the headrest. I didn't understand what was happening. Why her? Why now? Why had my brain attached itself to this woman I had only met once? Or worse, why had she attached herself to me? That thought made me open my eyes. Something moved in the corner of my vision. I slowly turned my head toward the tree line. And there she was, standing between the trees, still as a statue. Her posture was perfect. Her arms hung at her sides. Her dark eyes were fixed on me through the windshield, and she was smiling. I locked the doors. My thumb slipped against the button twice before it finally clicked. She didn't move, she didn't wave, she didn't blink. She just stood there smiling at me from the trees. I started the car and drove away so fast I almost hit the curb leaving the parking lot. I didn't go home at first. I drove around for almost an hour, checking my mirrors every few seconds, terrified I would see her in the back seat. But there was nothing. No one followed me. No one appeared in the road. No smiling woman in the rearview mirror. Just empty streets, dead leaves, and my own breathing. When I finally got home, my mom was asleep. I locked the front door, then checked it 3 more times. I closed every curtain in the house. I sat in my room with the lights on until morning, holding my camera in my lap for reasons I still can't explain. Maybe I thought if I saw her again, I could prove it. Maybe I just needed something solid in my hands. The next day, I told my mom I didn't want to go back to therapy. She got frustrated. She said I hadn't even given it a chance. She said one session wasn't enough to decide someone couldn't help me. I wanted to tell her everything, but I knew how it would sound. My therapist was in a dumpster. My therapist ran backward through the park. My therapist was standing in the trees smiling at me. So I just said I didn't like her. My mom sighed and told me I had another appointment scheduled that Friday. Friday came too fast. I barely slept the night before. I kept imagining her sitting in that office chair, tapping her pen, asking me about Jessie like she already knew the answers. I thought about refusing to get in the car, but part of me needed to know. Maybe that was stupid. Maybe curiosity is just fear wearing a different mask. When we pulled into the parking lot outside the office, I felt sick. My mom told me she'd wait in the car because she thought I might talk more openly if she wasn't inside. I almost asked her to come with me. I should have. But I didn't. The waiting room was empty. The receptionist wasn't at the desk. The same floral chemical smell hung in the air, stronger than before. I sat down and tried not to look at the hallway leading to the therapist's office. Then I heard it. Tap, tap, tap. The sound of a pen against paper. I stood up slowly. The hallway lights flickered once, just enough to make me stop. Then her office door opened. Not all the way, just a crack. Her voice came from inside. "Come in, Alex." I didn't move. The door opened a little wider. "I've been waiting for you." I stepped backward, ready to leave, but the front door behind me clicked. I turned and tried the handle. Locked. I pulled harder, then harder, but it wouldn't move. From behind me, the tapping stopped. The hallway went quiet. Then she said, "You're an observer, Alex, but you don't understand yet." I turned around. She was standing in the doorway of her office. Same blouse, same navy heels, same perfect posture, same dark eyes. Her smile was calm and polite, like nothing about this was strange. I don't remember exactly what I said. Maybe I asked what she wanted. Maybe I just cried. But she tilted her head and looked at me the way someone might look at an insect trapped under a glass. Then she said, "I want to know what you saw before you forgot." That sentence hit me harder than anything else she had done, because suddenly, for 1 second, the fog in my memory shifted. I saw headlights, wet pavement, Jesse screaming my name, a camera strap wrapped around my wrist, and someone standing in the road smiling. Someone with dark eyes and perfect white teeth. Then the memory vanished. I backed into the front door again, shaking the handle, and this time it opened like it had never been locked. I ran outside and didn't stop until I was in my mom's car. She looked confused and angry, but when she saw my face, she didn't yell. She just drove. I never went back to that office. My mom tried calling to cancel the next appointment, but the number was disconnected. A week later, the office was empty. No sign on the door, no furniture inside, no receptionist, no wax warmer, nothing. I looked her up online. I couldn't find her. No clinic profile, no license, no address, nothing connected to the name she had given us. My mom said maybe there had been some mistake with the referral. She wanted to believe that, so I let her. But I know what I saw. I saw her in that office. I saw her in the dumpster. I saw her running backward through the park. And sometimes when I look through my camera now, I catch things in the background that I didn't notice when I took the picture. A pale face behind glass, a dark figure at the edge of the trees, a small row of white teeth in the corner of the frame. I stopped taking pictures of people after that, because I'm starting to think she was right. I am an observer. But now, me and you, we might have one thing in common. We are the ones being observed now. We just don't know who's watching.